Yo, what's good, family, working class, intellectual podcast. We back on deck. You know what it is. I am Dr. Joseph Richardson, a.k.a. Uptown Philly 215. You know me as JoJo, family and friends. And I got my man, the co-host, the revolutionary.
Hey guys, the young revolutionist, Che. My words of wisdom for today is, pain is for a moment, love is always.
Salute. Oh.
Like
you ain't even going with the cell phone.
Nope.
I like that.
Nope, not at all.
I like that.
All right,
not at all. You just memorized that joint? You had that joint on hold?
That's tattooed on my arm. Don't tell nobody.
I'm liking the energy off of you guys. Already it's a
I never even noticed that, bro. You gotta bear that. So yo, we back in the studio. We back on deck. You know what it is. Yo, shout out. We gotta give a special shout out to my man Adam Austin, who came on last week.
Adam, what's up, Adam?
Shout out to Steve Yorkman, who is blowing up.
Yorkman.
Steve Yorkman was in the Washington Post. He was on News Channel 4. Shout out to him. Shout out to Eugene Perrier. Shout out, and more than importantly, shout out to all of the players at Fairmont Heights, a.k.a. the Heights, Maryland State Basketball Championship. Shout out to the coaches. Shout out to the team moms and the team dads. And yo, we back on deck. So another thing, free tax storm.
Free tax.
So yo, you know we gotta do the setup. As always. We in here drinking good wine.
Like always.
You know what I'm saying? We drinking wine from where we going? Washington State or Oregon. Both good wine countries. So we drinking some good Chardonnay 2012. But yeah, so we were supposed to actually have this guest on tomorrow. Me and my man, we just, since we ain't had no guests today, we slipped off to our regular drinking hole.
Joe's Avenue.
Shout out to Joe, shout out to Scrap. We were having our drinks, you know what I'm saying, getting into our little zone.
Man time.
You know what I mean? Having a little bro time. And we get the call that, our guest is here. But as we always do, we drank up, slammed our drinks.
Here we go.
And we had to double back. So before we move on to that, shout out to my wife, my beautiful wife. Her birthday tomorrow. Shout out to my beautiful wife. Shout out to Marie Josephine, who sponsors the show. Love her. So we doubled back, and now we here. So,
this energy, I'm telling you, it has to
in the vein of the media, because the media is all over the place right now. We want to have a very interesting conversation about the media.
Ooh, okay.
And what it means to be in the media, what it means to be fake news, real news. This is the real news episode.
Okay.
This is the alternative to alternative facts, which means we're telling no lies. We might exaggerate a little bit, but we don't tell no lies. So we got in the building with us, the illustrious.
Ooh!
Coming straight from Baltimore News.
Ooh.
Y'all ain't know that we messed around with the news. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We mess around with the news, too. But we have the illustrious Chardelle Moore.
Thank you.
In the building.
Hey! What's good, Kings? How y'all doing?
Can't complain.
Can't complain.
I'm giving thanks for another day. If not, you'll go crazy.
We can't complain. You do owe us a couple of shots.
I do. I got you. Trust me.
Just want to tell you that. Or bottle of wine.
I got you.
Sip up.
Sip up.
So yo, let's just start out real quick.
Yes, sir.
How is it?
Yes.
And what is the lifestyle like to be on the news every day?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. To be honest, I've always loved television, but I not necessarily liked news. That's a very interesting thing. Because what I do the traffic. I'm the traffic reporter, but I also anchor a show called BMORE Lifestyle. So I'm more of a host. So I'm a host, producer, and a reporter. But when you're on the news, you are in the public eye. And it is your job to, give facts to people that watch you every single day, whether it's you're reporting traffic, if you're reporting weather, if you're doing a social issue. So you have a responsibility to inform the public. So for me, I've always wanted to create positive content that could empower others. So I took more of the hosting route. But it's definitely a responsibility, and it comes with its pros and it also comes with its cons. Just yesterday, I had somebody send an email about me using the word queen. Because I always say queens. You know, I think queens is a form of royalty. It's a form of empowerment. And, you know, someone went ahead and said that queens was hood rats and I shouldn't be using the word queen.
What?
Absolutely.
Wow.
But when you are in the public eye, you face these things. I'm like, I'm talking about empowering my sisters. It has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with respect and royalty. And I can't even use the word queen without somebody having an opinion.
Right.
But it comes with the territory. So it's this type of game that if you're not confident in the skin that you're in, it's going to tear you apart.
How has it been though to like be a black woman on the news? First of all, I want to ask you another question,
Yes.
which is about kind of doing the traffic.
Yes.
Right? So did you start out like, is that where they kind of slid you in?
Actually,
like, or did you start out in another position?
I actually started out in another position. I started out as the multimedia host and producer. So I was responsible for producing and hosting sales-driven segments. And I started off as that, and then I moved towards, you know, being a traffic reporter, and now I anchor and host BMORE Lifestyle, which is the only local lifestyle and entertainment show. It actually airs on our sister station, MyTV, Baltimore.
Shout out to BMORE Lifestyle.
Yeah, shout out to
Shout
BMORE
out to
Lifestyle. You know, I wanted a concept that would, you know, empower our community, and that's exactly what we're doing. But it's definitely been a journey because I took huge risks to get where I am today. In 2012, I left my full-time job to pursue media. At the time, I was hosting an online Caribbean dancehall show. Shout out to all my Caribbeans, West Indians in the building.
Shout out,
Representing
shout out.
767 Dominican Massive. So that's how I started out. And I was also doing production work at BET. And at the time, I was an admission advisor for a for-profit college. And I love students, I love interacting with people, but I felt like something in my life was missing. And I was in my early 20s, so it's like, okay, I'm thinking about leaving this job and pursuing media. And I remember I was talking to somebody, and she said, anything you do part-time, you get part-time results. So that literally tattooed on my head. So for 2 years, I grinded out. I freelanced. So I worked at CBS Radio. I did some stuff on the CW affiliate. I worked on Cali TV, which focuses on Africans throughout the diaspora on the digital platform. So I was grinding, hustling, you know, sending my reel out everywhere. But I come from a host background. I've always wanted to host because reporting and hosting is two different things. A host, you can more use your personality. You don't have to be so ABC, you know. So I was sending my reel out to everywhere, and it's so funny. I'm a firm believer about energy in the universe, and I saw the job at FOX45. I'm not even exaggerating. This is what I did. Took my phone out, had my Instagram, changed my Instagram, put multimedia host and producer, FOX45, took a screenshot. I know this sounds crazy. Prayed about it. I'm like, this is the job. This is going to be my full-time job, and that's how I started. Yeah, that's how I started. It's crazy, but I'm a firm believer about energy. But I definitely feel like as a black woman, as a Caribbean woman, as a first-generation American, you need to come with your game 10 times more. Because we live in a society that people do see color, people do see race. That's just the reality of the situation. You know.
So was there ever a time where you just like, you know what? I don't know if I can make it or if I can do this anymore.
Oh, to be honest, I never doubted that I wasn't going to make it. Okay. But through the journey, I've had a lot of moments where I really wished I could rush the process, but then I realized that you can't rush greatness. You know what I mean? God puts you into places for a reason. So every single step was imperative for the overall goal. So a lot of times I had to humble myself and say, you know what, I don't want to be working in radio, making $8 an hour with a college degree, but that is going to open the door to something else. And I knew I always had something different and unique. And but like you said, when you work in the public eye, it's different because at the end of the day, you know, I grew up here, but I'm still a Caribbean woman. So sometimes I talk broken. It's just natural. Right, yeah. So I've had people say, oh my gosh, why does she talk broken? Does she need ESL classes? And I'm like, look, are you serious? But it comes with the territory. So y'all keep watching. Keep watching. Yeah,
when you when you were a child,
Yes.
did you know that this
Always.
is what you wanted to do? Really?
Always. When I was in
Because
second,
I had no idea. What
I always knew this is what I wanted to do. In second grade, I was our morning news anchor, and a couple years later, I hosted a show on like public access. So all my friends that I grew up with, they're like, "Of course, Chardell's doing this," and this is only the beginning.
But how did you know that you wanted to do it?
I felt it. I felt it. There's something called passion that you just feel. Some people get that passion tick at an early age. Some people might be in their 30s, it might be in their 70s. But there's something that happens in your veins when you realize this is what you're supposed to do. And that's what I feel like. And even right now, this is just the beginning to the overall journey. But you remember, one step at a time.
So a lot of people, right, when they think about grinds, you know, people don't really understand a lot of times when they see the end result.
Oh, exactly.
Right, so they see the end result, they might see, we were just talking about this, we were coming here, me and Che, we were talking about the gram and how a lot of times you'll see people fronting on the gram.
Yeah, that's a highlight
and
reel.
It's a highlight reel, like nobody really shows what the grind looks like. In the same way, you have rappers talking about, yo, I've got cars, I got jewelry, I got money, but no one talks about the flip side of the hustle of doing time behind bars.
Yeah.
So, you know, all of us have a story about a grind and how we had to sacrifice on the grind, but you said that you basically decided for 2 years that you were going to take this hustle. But what was it like? What were the kind of things? Was it oodles and noodles?
Oh my
Was
goodness.
you rhyming it up?
You're
Were you tuna fishing it up?
Oh my
goodness.
goodness. The positive of this situation is that during those 2 years, give thanks to my parents. I was living with my parents. Thank you, God, because if not, I would have been on the street. No, I'm serious, because I didn't have money to pay for rent. But so definitely but I still had bills. Even though I was living with my parents, I still had my car note. I still had, you know, all of those other stuff, my loans and everything. But what really helped me to keep me afloat, additional to my parents, is entrepreneurship. Because even though I was, you know, hustling, I always marketed myself that, you know, I'm the best. You know what I mean? So even though I'm grinding out, have 3 jobs, freelancing, people are still hiring me to host events. People are still hiring me, you know, for motivational speaking. So this extra form of income really helped me. You know what I mean? But there was some times that I was like, how am I going to make this? Because I really want a full-time media job and I'm not getting it. And I really had to just humble myself. I would sometimes tape myself, you know, to empower my own self. Like, Sean, This is your journey. It's okay right now. I would be crying, literally. And it's just amazing what happens when human beings don't quit. Like, regardless of whatever your journey is, that hustle effect, that ability to have a goal, to keep focused through the storms, it's amazing what humans can do. But we allow the devil, negativity, our past to dictate our future. And we can't allow these energies to prevent us from succeeding.
And it's crazy that you say that. I use this quote all the time. Will Smith says, there's no reason for having a plan B because it takes away from plan A.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I totally relate to the grind and development and hunger.
Exactly.
That's inside of the individual person. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, then...
Yeah, did you ever have a plan B?
No.
That's amazing.
No.
For what?
No.
Nah, because you know why? Because a lot of people, you know, are raised to always, particularly when your parents always instill in you, yo, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to have a fallback plan, right? And a lot of times a fallback plan ends up being your ultimate plan,
Yep.
right? Because if you're always planning to fall back, then you're not planning to fall forward. So, you know, in my situation, I know that I had to come to that point where I was like, I had to go home and live with my mom in the basement for 2 years in order to get a doctorate. I basically lived off a suitcase of clothes for like 2 years. And
There you
just
go.
grinded it out. But I think a lot of times, you know, we underestimate the grind. You know, we don't talk a lot about what it takes to grind, what the sacrifice is,
Exactly.
what are the real down times. Sometimes, you know, you might go into just a straight up depression. You know, where you just like, I can't really see my way out of this. But then it happens one day, you know, through the miraculous, you know, deeds of God that a light comes and then the door opens and then you're finally there. But you don't know how close you are to the goal. So have you ever had those kind of times
absolutely.
where you're like, yo, I'm like literally depressed right now?
I wouldn't necessarily say depressed, but there was a lot of times that I questioned my path. You know what I mean? Like, yo, this is not happening how I want it. You know, I'm grinding it out. Money is low. I'm sending my reel out, you know. And I feel like I could be using I'm not exactly where I want to be. But I think it goes back to that, you know, not having a plan B and really motivating yourself and realizing, you know what, this is all part of the journey. And don't get me wrong, through that journey, you're gonna cry.
Oh,
you're
right.
gonna have times that you question yourself, you question your own talents, you know. But it's all part of the journey. You know what I mean? Like, your situation is very similar to what I had to do. Like, I had to live with my parents. You know, that was the only way. That if not, you know what I mean?
I straight up felt like I was regressing. Like,
gotcha.
I'm back to my high school room.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Living like I'm 17. And so, what were your parents saying about it?
Well, I mean, the one thing though, a lot of foreign parents, I know, you know, for my parents, but my parents I could live with my parents for the rest of my life. Like, they don't care about that. A lot of foreign parents, actually, what happens is you know, live with your parents, you help your parents stack with rent, and then when you move out, you buy a house. So for them, that wasn't an issue. You know what I mean? That's just how a lot of Caribbean Americans are.
So,
but my parents definitely questioned what I was doing.
What were they saying?
They were like, I came to this country. When I told my parents how much I was making in radio, my mom had a breakdown. She started crying. She's like, I came to this country, sacrificed for you to get a college degree, and you're making $8 an hour at the radio station? Because I was making good money as an admission advisor, and I was doing my media out on the side, so people thought I was crazy. Like, you in your very early 20s, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're making great money, you're still doing media, why do you want to leave? But anything you do part-time, you get part-time results. And now my parents are like, that is my daughter. So proud of her, guys.
So what message
Yes.
could you give someone that's, you know, 11, 12 years old and they want to get into the media world or
Yes.
I mean TV in general?
I would say you have to be extremely passionate about this industry because your first couple of years, you will be grinded out. You'll be a production assistant, you'll be a promotion assistant, you'll be working behind the scenes. Your first on-air job, you're not going to be making no money, but it's all part of the overall process. Also, find out what you really want to do in this business. Do you want to be a reporter? Do you want to be an anchor? Do you want to produce? Do you want to be a host? I always knew I wanted to go the hosting route instead of the reporting route because more of the creativity. And what are you using your platform for? If you just want to be on TV, then you're not going to make it in this business because so many people want to be on TV. You also have to have something different and something that makes you unique and really love the business.
That's crazy. I remember one time when I was in high school, I was an intern at KYW. It was like a news radio station. I had to go every week, and that's the first time I realized.
I can see you in radio. Both of y'all, like I can see your show syndicated.
You can?
Yeah.
You should push us.
I'm serious. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna be on this show. Life is
so.
Let me tell you one thing about this thing called life, y'all. Life is so crazy, and it takes you to places that you'll never expect. I'm telling you.
Let's toast up to that.
Hey!
Hey! Hey! Salud, salud, salud. Whoa.
Whoa.
Salud, salud.
Shout out.
That is so true. I
Yes.
think like we have bigger things ahead of us for this show.
Definitely. The concept is dope. Go back to what you were saying.
BMORE.
Yes.
Your show. Freddie Gray.
Oh, wow.
Did you cover that?
Well, the thing about BMORE Lifestyle, it just launched. It launched in September, so this was way after Freddie Gray. But I remember, it's so funny. That day when everything popped off, I was doing the morning traffic. And when I was driving home, because you're done at like 11, you could feel something in the air. I was like, what is going on? It was like you could feel this energy. Everybody was in the street. You know what I mean? And I will always remember that because it's like when something is about to pop off, the universe feels it.
Oh, indeed.
So I was like, what is about to go on? This was before anything. And this is when the protests started happening. And the thing about me, I do traffic, so I don't cover hard news. I don't cover those type of issues. And it's interesting because if I did news, I would like to cover like social issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? More of that social issues. But it was just crazy to see what was happening in the city and how media was covering it and how everybody has a different perception of what's happening.
So what did you see as the difference between how media was covering it and the actual perception of what was going on the ground. Because, you know, in Baltimore, clearly you have kind of mainstream media stations like Fox.
Yeah,
but then you also have alternative, like the real news, right?
Yeah.
And so what was the difference between the narratives between mainstream media, your perception of it, and then alternative?
Well, I definitely feel like everybody has, like when I was saying, everybody has their different, you know, perceptions of reality. But at the end of the day, one thing I would say is that the city needed to come together. Because if we didn't, and we still have work to do, because regardless of whatever side that you're taking on the whole Freddie Gray situation, the fact is, I mean, the reality of the situation is there is oppression in Baltimore. You know what I mean? Something about Baltimore, when I moved to Baltimore, it made me realize, like, Baltimore's a different place. But at the same time, the people there are so real. So if you talk to, I'm telling you, they are so real. That's why I love it. So if you talk to the people in the streets, they would say, you know, they're covering it this way, or you're covering it that way. And then, you know, people in the newsroom are saying they're covering it by facts. So it just makes you realize, like, wow, human beings are very interesting people, because you're talking to one source and they think what they're doing is perfectly fine. And you're talking to another source and they think it's what they're doing is wrong. So it's like, how do you come together to highlight something where everybody is going to be in equal parties? And the reality of the situation is you can't, because everybody has a different perception of reality. That's what happens with media.
In your space in the media, do you have, I think you have the autonomy to kind of discuss the topics that you want, to narrate them in a way and place them in the direction that you want them to go? Or is there, I don't want to necessarily say censorship.
Gotcha.
But how much leeway do you have to direct the stories in the way that you think they should be directed?
Well, I have to admit, I have a lot of creative control, because BMORE Lifestyle, it's different. News doesn't produce BMORE Lifestyle. Creative Services produces BMORE Lifestyle. So the thing about TV, there's so many different departments. News and creative services are two different entities. So I have more creative control. When I'm anchoring BMORE Lifestyle, I completely speak normal. I talk to people like kings and queens, my brother, boss, blah, 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 because I am hosting. And that's the thing about this show. We cover entertainment, we cover health, we cover, you know, different kings and queens that are doing positive things in the community, nonprofit organizations. I wanted a show that is going to promote the positive news, because I don't like hard news. That's just not me. And this is the thing. There are hard news reporters that love that, and nothing is wrong with that. We need hard news reporters. That's just not me. I mean, even when I do traffic, I remember the first time somebody died and I was depressed. So I'm serious. I was depressed.
Can you give us like a rundown on like how
A
you
typical
speak
day?
that fast?
I speak
like,
fast?
No, I'm saying when you're doing the traffic, like when people doing the traffic,
They're like, be a nice ride out there.
They're like, yeah, you don't know how to that's what I want on here. We got bumper traffic going, traffic on 210, I'm like, yo, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, because you only have a certain window to get that information, so you better go fast. Yeah, so, and I'm also a producer. A lot of people don't realize that. I work behind the scenes every day as well as in front of the camera every day.
So what you like more, the production side?
On air. But I produce creative content. So I work in the creative service department, and I produce television commercials, live specials, segments, that type of stuff. So for example, University of Maryland, I've produced stuff for them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you have any, I guess, embarrassing moments
on
live?
TV? Of course.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's
like
natural.
What is happening?
I'm trying to think
You had to play it off.
We had to play it. I hope they didn't see this one.
Oh, y'all ready for this one? See it real good, okay? I would definitely say pronunciation sometimes, because I'm new to Baltimore, so a lot of times I might pronounce the word wrong. Okay. And let me tell you, you guys always tell me. But I mean, it's part of the deal. At the end of the day, I am human, folks. We're all human.
Right.
A lot of people, they put us into this box because you're on TV that you're not human. We're all learning in this journey called life. So if I mess up on something, I'm like, oops, okay, thank you. Move on.
So I see you don't have a Baltimore accent in you. You're not like to and do and Doug. Anybody out there that don't know Baltimore,
shout out BMORE.
Yeah,
we know that y'all say dog, y'all say Doug. That ain't nothing we like putting y'all on blast for. That's what y'all really say. So let's get it straight. But
that's that Philly shit right there.
Philly in the building.
Social media.
Yes, that's a good one.
Because you mentioned social media.
Yeah.
So When you talk about like you're behind the social media production, what does that actually?
What do you mean, like
when you
behind?
said you were doing like the social media, you were kind of doing social media in your work. Did you mention that? No?
I don't think so.
Or maybe I was tripping.
Maybe you tripping. Maybe it's the wine.
Maybe
that glass, Mike.
Maybe I need to just.
Maybe it's the wine, bro.
But let's get to social media. Let's get to Twitter.
Twitter, yes.
the Gram, Snapchat.
Let's do it.
Do you find that in your work, because I don't know what the protocol is between somebody that has to be on TV,
Yes.
right? You have to present a certain image,
Yeah.
and then you have your own personal life,
Yeah.
right? So when you're projecting stuff on like Instagram or Twitter,
Yes.
is there a way that you kind of have to police your own?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you work in the public eye, but I think regardless, even if I wasn't on TV, I would be very mindful of the images that I put out there, because at the end of the day, like, your social media is a representation of your brand. So you will never see me, post certain, content on there, because that's just not me, who I am as a person. But at the same time, we are human. So for example, I know a lot of reporters that won't post swimsuit pictures, but I definitely got a couple of them swimsuit pictures on there. And then you got to stay true to yourself, but you got to be extremely mindful. So it's like a thin line,
right?
Because at the same time you want to show the real. You know what I mean? So I have pictures.
How close do you get to that line?
I say I do a good job with that. Like, I post pictures at the club. I post pictures with my friends, with my family. I post all that stuff.
Are there any situations where you don't have to air nobody out, but somebody's done something that you know in your industry that's done stuff on social media where they've totally got blasted for that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes with the territory, because you are in the public eye, so you have to be very mindful. And at the same time, the reporters, the anchors, we're people. There's nothing different between.
Nothing different.
We're people,
So
it's like
how,
a professor. It's
how,
like you.
Nah, hell no.
Nah,
ain't nowhere
it's like
near.
you.
I can walk out on the street today and no one wouldn't. They might know.
I don't know, man. We getting a little caught
Uh-oh,
now.
bus is coming, bro.
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean? I'm a little thorough right now.
Bus is coming, bro.
Working class and elections,
Yeah,
man. Dropping every
class
Tuesday.
blowing up. So I might get hawked like that. But on the streets,
Yeah. Do people
how is it?
recognize me?
Yeah.
Oh, everywhere I go in Baltimore.
when they roll up on you, say.
Very positive. There was also I love seeing the fact that you are so real and I can identify with you. Because I'm the same way I am on air as well as off air. And that's very different. Like, I'm very different from the typical on-air personality in a major market. Like,
So
I'm not, even my clothes
a lot
are
of times the
different.
people we're seeing that are on air, like, that's totally not who they are.
Yeah. I mean, they're reporting, and then afterwards it's,
Turn up.
turn up. And Shaw's different. I'll be like, what's up, guys? It's Friday. Let the turn up begin.
Yeah.
Literally on the
You
news. And
embrace it.
people are like, what? They tweet me, oh my goodness, you're the first person I heard that said turn up on the news. But I feel like that's who I am as a person, and I shouldn't change who I am to fit in.
Right.
Flaws and all.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the whole social media as far as, young women twerking and I guess being very, for lack of provocative?
So this is what I say. Intellect is something that will always take you far. Now, if you want to be a girl that wants to twerk and, post those pictures on Instagram or social media, do you, but just be mindful that will attract a certain type of energy. But if you use your mind as a source of inspiration, you can never go wrong. And that's what I tell these girls. I'm like, it's very easy, because it's sad, but we live in a society where that is more highlighted than, queens out there that are, making,
positive.
that's positive. And it is so sad, because a lot of times when I do motivational speaking, a lot of these young girls feel that that's the way that they have to go. But you don't have to go that route. And be mindful, if you choose to go that route, that's going to bring a certain type of energy. So you have to be very mindful, and you have to decide, where would you like your life to go? And intellect will always take you farther. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's the truth, but that's just my opinion.
How do you kind of manage your life with other people that are in the industry that are women of color? Like, I don't even want to say women of color, because I don't like using that term. With black women? Like, how are the relationships between you and other black women that are in the industry as far as like sharing your experiences, going through the same struggles?
Definitely. Like? Even at our station, a lot of us are like this. It's like you have this sisterhood because you know what you went through as a black woman in media. And I have to admit, throughout my years, it's definitely been the best station that I've worked with. Okay. Like, the people are phenomenal, great energy, good vibes, and that's an amazing thing because you don't see that a lot at different stations. But I would say that the sisters, we naturally have a sisterhood. You have to. I mean,
that's what's up.
You got to. You got to look out for each other.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. You know what I find to be interesting, though, like, what I at least in this area between D.C. and Baltimore, is that despite the fact that Fox, politically, on their leanings, right, as a national corporation, media corporation, typically leans towards, the right, being really conservative. But it seems like on their local station, at least, it seems like on a local station, it seems like it's a much more progressive and left-leaning. Do you find that to be like the case?
A lot of times people think that we are Fox News. And Fox News is different from the Fox local affiliate.
Explain that.
Okay, so a lot of people don't understand that. Even, for example, the people who own our station is not Fox News. The people who own our station is actually Sinclair Broadcast Group. And our sister station is not even Fox 5 in DC. It's actually ABC 7.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's what they own. They own ABC 7. They don't own Fox 5. So a lot of times people automatically assume that we are Fox News, but we're not. So it's really hard to explain to people who are not in media, but it's two separate entities. Yes, it's Fox, but we're not owned by Fox News. There's certain Fox stations that are actually owned by Fox, but we're not. We're actually owned by Sinclair. So that's what you'll see, especially in DC. Fox 5, you'll see the diversity.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun topics, and that's exactly how it is in Fox 45 as well.
I never knew that.
Yeah, people automatically assume.
Yeah, I was one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm totally ignorant.
We're all learning.
I'm just going to be honest with you. How do you, as the person that's kind of hosting this show for Baltimore, how do you decide, I guess along with your producers as well, how do you decide what's your co-host?
Christina Denny. Shout out to
Christina
Denny.
Shout out to you. You need to come and work with guys in the election
really
too. This is a good show. We drink good wine. And we here with your co-host.
Yeah.
How do you decide what shows you're going to do, topic? Like, how do you get to, okay, this is what we're going to do this week?
Well, we have a mixture of sales-driven content and feature content. Most of our content is feature content. And we like to do, hot topics in the community and also, like, highlight different organizations and different people and things that our viewers can learn from. Like, for example, yesterday we had medical marijuana, which is a hot topic. We had a doctor come in and talk about the benefits of that, as well as a woman, her daughter was actually injured, I think at 2 years old, she was dropped, and she tried so many different medications. She had 30 seizures a day, and the only thing that helped her was medical marijuana. So using these type of topics that are going to impact our community, and also highlighting, fashion, entertainment. So we do a lot of research. What's hot in Baltimore right now? What will our viewers like? Who are the people that go uncovered, but we should also bring recognition to them? So it's a lot of research and producing that comes for the show. And this is a baby. This just started. There's nothing like this, on the Baltimore market right now. So we're still learning too. Yeah, but it's needed. We need positive content.
How much time goes into producing the show?
Oh, a lot of time goes to producing. Even producing one segment takes a lot of energy. Shout out to our producers as well. Dana, Stacy, Dwight. Y'all doing a good job.
Yo, shout out to us.
Yeah.
Because we produced this joint.
Yes. So you
know
guys
what I'm
produced
saying?
the whole thing.
Hell yeah. Yo, I was in a meeting yesterday and somebody asked me, they were like, so who produces your show? And I didn't even know whether I had the right answer because I was like, should I say this, man?
You'll say it.
I was like, yeah, I actually do this shit by myself with my man.
Yeah.
But we do basically, we run the gamut on our own.
That's amazing.
Ever thought about doing a podcast?
You know what? You're like the fifth person who told me that.
You should do one.
Maybe I should.
Yeah,
you got the personality. You got the personality. You definitely got the personality.
Maybe podcasts come.
You got the personality to do one. You should. You should look into it. Seriously. Like, you can control it. You see how we doing.
Exactly. I like this vibe because it's entertaining, but at the same time, it's informative. And that's the overall goal. That's the type of content I like.
And it's crazy because I get a lot of people just saying, how did you and Dr. Richardson meet? I guess you never really run into a professor and a guy that comes from, I guess, the urban street neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when we got together, Doc's like, you know what, man, look, man, let's do a podcast, and I was with it. You know what I mean? So I just felt like, man, vibes are so.
Oh yes,
vibes are real.
So real.
Vibes are so real, man. Yeah. So it's like I know, me personally, I get stopped all the time. Hey, how's Doc doing? I've never said anything to anyone about Doc. They go off of social media and YouTube and SoundCloud. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. So I definitely agree as far as vibes.
What would be your wish list of segments to do for your show?
Top.
That I haven't done before?
That you haven't done.
Oh my goodness.
5 of them.
Dang, a lot of the content that I wanted, we've already done before. I want us to do something about race.
Y'all haven't touched that yet?
We've done stuff, but not really. I would like to see, for example, my host, who's Caucasian, big up to Christina, and we were talking about this. Even go to the mall, but maybe not necessarily in Baltimore because people would recognize us, but go somewhere else and see if people treated us differently. Stuff like this, because race is one of those.
That would be cool.
Race is one of those things that producers don't like to touch on race, y'all. I'll be keeping it 100.
Why not?
Because they think that it's very easy, like you say something, like a host can say something that might be a little controversial, and it turns into blows up. So I would definitely say race is one, and it goes back to race again. The black man's experience in Baltimore. I think that would be a very cool topic. A black man's experience
you should do
in
that.
Baltimore.
You should do that.
Yeah.
What do you think their experience is?
It's different. At the end of the day, we live in a society that people judge us. But I would have to, what I will say is when I first moved to Baltimore, something that was very, very surprising to me is that, you can go to the hood and you see black and white people.
Yo, Baltimore, though, is one of the few cities in America.
And that shocked me.
Yo, shout out to Dundalk.
Yes.
Because Dundalk.
Yes, that's where Christina's from. That's where my co-host is from.
Y'all got the hoodest white people in America. Nah, I'm telling you, my word. I went to a...
cool, too. Really cool.
Mad cool. Listen,
cool.
I went to a boxing match that was, right outside of Dundalk. Yo. The white dudes that were rolling up, I was like, what the hell is going on? Yo, straight with the stroll, the swagger, the talk. I'm like...
Shout out to Dundalk in the building.
Shout out
the kings and queens.
Shout out to Dundalk. Everybody from Dundalk that's listening in, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all got some wild white boys out there. Serious. Y'all got a little soul out there. I like y'all.
You'll find that in Baltimore.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. So, I'm sure you probably traveled around the country. What makes Baltimore unique? Besides the fact that people are just straightforward with it.
Like you said, the people are very straightforward. It's a beautiful energy. I think people give Baltimore a bad rep. Don't get me wrong. Just like any inner city, it has its stuff that it needs to work on. But also, too, there's a lot of eclectic communities in Baltimore. You'll go to West Baltimore, it's totally different from, the harbor, so every place has its own unique energy. And also, too, there's so many creative people in Baltimore.
Yeah,
oh my goodness. From rappers, musicians, writers, fashion designers.
Shout out to D. Watkins.
Speakers the
Have
intellect.
you had him on your show?
No. We got to book him.
D. Watkins?
I haven't.
The dude that wrote the Cook Up?
No.
In the B-side? Shout out to D. Watkins. You need to get him on your show.
I will.
Yeah, he's straight
Y'all
up.
need to come on the show.
He's straight up Baltimore. For real. How about The Wire?
Wire.
Do you think that The Wire gave a false representation of Baltimore?
Not
or
always.
Accurate?
I didn't watch The Wire like that, to be honest.
No.
I know. I'm being honest.
Oh!
Hold up.
I'm keeping it 100. I didn't watch The Wire like that, so I couldn't give you an accurate answer.
How you going to
It's like the Titanic of
Yo,
hood movies.
yo,
Of hood series, you know what I mean?
and how you gonna be doing the traffic?
Low.
And
Haven't
hosting a Baltimore
I've watched
show.
The Wire a couple of times, but I haven't watched it full. Like,
Yo, FOX45, y'all ain't betting y'all hoes right, man. That need to be a requirement.
watch The Wire.
Season 4. Go out all the seasons. 6. I don't know how you.
I heard it's one
Shout
of
out to
one
Wire,
of the,
HBO,
yeah, I heard The
BMORE.
Wire was one of the most amazing.
Nah, The Wire was dope.
It
shows
definitely
on
was.
TV.
It was definitely dope.
That's
Definitely.
what
You might want to binge watch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get your
Wire.
on Netflix.
Get some Wire.
Binge.
Get some
You
Wire.
watch that on Netflix?
Probably, right?
Can you? No, you can't watch it on Netflix.
You can't?
No, it's not. No, it's not on Netflix. You have to go into like on demand, whatever cable company that you might be with, or go on HBO, and it'll pop up. But no, it's not on Netflix.
Gotcha.
Nah, but Baltimore is crazy because my sister, shout out to my sister Candy, she went to Morgan State.
Okay.
And,
So you're familiar a little bit.
So I was out there for about a year and a half. I was 16 years old, and I just remember Baltimore was very, what's the word I want to use? Infectious. You know what I mean? Like the people are very outspoken. You know what I mean? So I remember walking into this, I guess, little 5 and dime store, and the guy said, "What's up with you, yo?" What's up with me, yo?
What'd you say?
What's up, Slim? You know what I mean? So when I said Slim and he said, yo, it's just like two brothers from two different worlds.
Yeah,
It was a connect.
yeah.
But it's out of respect, you know what I
Right.
mean? And that's one thing I can say about Baltimore. A lot of black men that I've met and women, they're very, I guess, respectful, man. And I like that. You know what I mean? So,
Yo, you know what's crazy? I was looking for a house in Baltimore when I first moved down here from Philly. And I remember my agent was telling me, we were sitting outside of one of the houses I was looking at, and he was like, yo, Baltimore's real quiet at night. You want toast? Because you look like you're throwing up your glass.
No, but
she want to drink to that.
But he was like, Baltimore's real quiet. And one of the things I noticed about Baltimore, too, though, at night, it does get real quiet.
Really?
At least the neighborhood I was in, or
Where
is
were
it
you
just
at?
loud and hectic? It was in Charles Village, so that's...
Well, Charles Village is. I think it depends on where you're at.
Yeah, see, we stayed at, was it Carriage Hill?
Yeah.
Yes, we was in Carriage Hill for about 6-7 months.
But you know what's
So I
crazy?
seen the other side.
The other side. But you know what's really crazy? How Baltimore and DC are so different from each other.
It's
And
so
it's
close.
and it's so close. I know a lot of my coworkers, they hate coming to DC. They're like, you'll never find me in DC. DC is so weird.
Yeah.
DC is so and I'm like, really? Because
Yeah.
I grew up in the DMV, so this is what I know.
Washington.
But they think it's like, and a lot of people from DC think Baltimore is like a different world. And it's so crazy because it's only 45 minutes from each other.
You remember DC used to think people in Baltimore wore mad, loud colors.
Yeah.
My wife is from DC, so I've already heard the Baltimore.
I think the
blast.
DC and Baltimore feud goes back.
I never understood it, though.
Me
Even
either.
when we was locked up, it was never Baltimore and DC fellas. Like we never
Really?
liked each other. You know what I mean? And I'm not
Wow.
sure why, but we just never. And we 30 minutes away from each
Yo,
other.
what's crazy is, like, Philly and New York, we 90 miles away from each other, but we tend to click up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that is. Even though we still have our own identity, we tend to click up. But it seems like, as close as y'all are, because y'all like half the distance than we are from New York, but it seems like DC and Baltimore just never, ever mess with each other like that.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Because you're from DC,
I'm
right?
from DC, in Washingtonia. Honestly, I'm not sure what it is. Some people say it was over the drug game. It started because of drugs. Then it, I guess, reached over to the prison system, and then the prison, then back
What's
here.
crazy is,
But
like,
who
Baltimore
knows?
like a dope city. Baltimore's more than heroin. And
But
DC.
you want to know what's crazy? A lot of times when people don't understand the culture
Yeah.
or person, they tend to not want to get to know the person or the individual. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna say DC and Baltimore, y'all need to stop all that.
yeah, we do.
Y'all,
Come together
y'all
as
40
one.
miles
All
away
the
from
kings
each
and
other.
queens
We
come
all
together as
all
one.
black. We all getting oppressed. We all getting beaten by the police and shot up. Y'all need to cut that out, man. We need to get back to giving each other love. So, for you, where are we going next with what you plan to do? You got the show
Everybody
going on.
always
You got
asks me that
you got the weather.
Everybody
But
always
I
asks
can
me
see
that
bigger
question.
things for you.
Oh,
You
indeed.
got the personality.
Thank you. I mean, eventually, the ultimate goal is to have my own show, produce my own show. And I love content that is entertaining and informative. Like, you know, y'all show right now, you're still being entertained, you're having fun, but you're spinning intellect. That's my vibes. You know, I don't ever want to talk about what's a celebrity wearing. I don't care about that. Who's date. I don't care about that. I want to talk about important issues, positive issues, and I will have my own show, but it's going to take time. And people always ask me, what you going to do next after Baltimore? What is it? And to be honest, only he knows. And I'm going to trust the vibrations of the universe and pray about it. And when the time to come, you know, to spread my wings, it will come. And I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. And I told God, when you feel like it's time for me to spread my wings, do it in the right time. If it's going to take another 3 years, if it's going to take another 1 year, do it in the right time. Don't rush the process for greatness.
Do you feel like, because some people will say, excuse me, you got to put it into the universe. So like you said, this is the job I wanted. You put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Put it into the universe.
I'm putting it into the universe. I'm going to have my own show. I already even told my boss. I'm like, one day, I'm going to have my own national syndicated international show. He's like, okay.
So who are your idols? Who do you look up to?
I
in the
love
industry?
Oprah. I know it's
Shout out to
cliche.
Oprah. My wife got me watching Greenleaf like that. I don't know what the hell is going on with that joint. I just watched that shit. I ain't gonna lie. Every night we gotta watch Greenleaf. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what's going on. I just know Keith David in that joint. He alright. I don't know what he's going on. Salute to that.
Salute the wifey. Salute the salute the Oprah.
So Oprah, I love Angie Martinez. Love her.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what about Angie?
I mean, okay. First of all, Angie, she has been a powerful force in the hip hop game. I don't care what anybody says. Her interview style, she's very natural. She's very smooth. She's passionate about what she does. She's involved in the community as well, and she's showing young women through generations that you don't have to be a girl that shakes her butt to get noticed. You know, she still spits intellect. She still spits entertainment, and she's, you know, cultural. So I like her. I love Angie Martinez. Angie Martinez, Oprah, those are my favorites.
Yeah, that's
very
interesting.
unique.
I would have never thought you would
Angie-
say Angie.
I like Angie
But
Martinez.
shout out to
Angie at
Angie.
the top of her game,
Nah,
right?
shout out
Sorry,
to
Angie
Nah,
Martinez.
Listen, man, I used to live in New York for like 15 years.
Yes.
And I used to listen to Angie every day. And Wendy Williams too. Actually, if I'm not, do you like Wendy?
Wendy Williams, she's cool, but that's not really my cup of tea because I don't like celebrity gossip. You know, I respect her what she has done in her lane, but that's not me. That's not the type of content that I'm drawn to. But you got to give props when props is due, and she's definitely the queen of celebrity gossip.
Shout out to Angie though.
No, I'm sorry.
She's been doing her thing.
Angie,
Angie
right.
been doing her thing. Angie
Yes.
been in the game for a minute, and she's interviewed a lot of amazing people, and she's got real.
And she's a
lifestyle.
Latina. That's
Right.
different. She's a Latina, you know, and that's important too because you also, when you're in this industry and when you come from that cultural background, it's like, you know, even for me, Dominica, the population of Dominica is 70,000 people. You know, I don't know if this is true or not, but they say I'm the first woman born in Dominica to broadcast in commercial television in the United States. That's what people say, and I probably am, to be honest. And even though, you know, I came here when I was very young as a toddler, but it's like, you know, you also have the people back home that are looking up to you. You know what I mean? So it's more. You know, I write poetry too, and I wrote this poem
Got
about.
poems to spit?
Hey, I was following up. She wasn't gonna say that. I was.
We need to hear them.
Hey, I was following up.
We're going to close with your poem.
Okay,
We're going to give you a little time to.
But you know, I write poetry. It's a reflection of my creativity, and you know, it's very important for me to empower other people that look like me, that come from my background, to just go do it. I'm getting emotional right now.
Just go do it.
I don't know if it's the why.
You can cry.
But it's just
You'll be
like,
the first person that cried on this.
you know.
But you could be the first.
I don't know. It's been a journey. You know what I mean? I remember there was times in my career that I was like, you know, at the station stacking boxes. Like that's what I had to. That was my assignment for the day, to stock the boxes or to clean the prize closet, and it's all part of the journey.
And you always knew that you were gonna come out on
I
top.
always knew. Always knew.
That's
It didn't matter what A, B, C, or D said, because what God has for you, no man can take away. So people might think you're crazy when you're saying these things, like, oh, this is just a stepping stone. Okay,
You shouldn't
whatever. She's
I
crazy.
always say you shouldn't. What Dave Chappelle said, you shouldn't call people crazy because it's dismissive. Maybe the world is a little sick.
Exactly.
Yo, shout out to Dave Chappelle. You seen
Hey.
the new
Yeah, I see Netflix. Yeah.
You saw me post that, right? I posted that
I
on
watched
Instagram.
I mean, Dave.
It's been tight, right? You seen the
He's
new
the
Dave
king.
Chappelle episodes on Netflix?
I haven't.
Yo, they crazy.
Really?
Yeah. I want to ask you though,
Mm-hmm.
what is your day like? Because when I'm watching the news, particularly in the morning, I'm like, yo, they gotta get up mad early.
Yeah, fortunately I don't. I have to be there 9:30 to 6. But if I do the early shift, I gotta be there at like 3.
So what's your day like?
So I come to the station, I look at my script for BMORE Lifestyle, make any revisions. After, the TV station, I'm still working on my script. I'm still revising. So I'm doing that. If I'm producing, I gotta reach out to clients. Let's say the client is Coca-Cola, the client is University of Maryland, send them the script, do some editing. If I have to go shoot, I gotta go shoot. Anchor BMORE Lifestyle. During the evenings, report the traffic. I produce our traffic as well. So I produce it, put it together, do everything as well. And it's very interesting because you're a producer, you're a host, you're a reporter, you wear so many hats.
Right.
And it's very funny because even my clothes is different. When I'm hosting BMORE Lifestyle, I can be a little bit more funkier because that's not news.
You pick your clothes or you have
Yes.
stylists?
No, we pick our clothes, we do our makeup. A lot of people think that we have a makeup artist,
It
a
ain't like
stylist.
that.
Not our station. Maybe other stations, but not our station. So, you learn to be very creative. And you just got to be on point because one moment I'm producing, I'm writing, the next moment I'm anchoring, the next moment I'm reporting the traffic. And I have to admit, God wanted me to be in this position for a reason, and it's teaching me to be very versatile with my craft.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
It's
What do you
honest
think? What do
kicking
you think about? Now we're gonna go into the fake news.
Okay.
This whole discussion around fake news, Donald Trump, and the way that the media has handled the issues around fake news. What's real news?
Yeah.
What kind of your thoughts about fake news, real news?
Well, I mean, I'm on contract right now, so I can't talk about anything political.
You can't?
No, it's literally
That's
on
what we
your
brought you on
contract.
here for.
So sorry about that, guys. I can't talk about which party I support or any of that stuff. But one thing I will say, regardless if it's news or not news, people have different perceptions of reality.
Indeed.
That's one thing I've really had to realize. What I might think is factual, somebody else might think is not. And it's that simple. I got to play safe with that one.
Yeah. Shout out to FOX45 keeping our guests on contract, so she can't really open up about what she was. But we respect.
Always.
Oh, indeed, we read between the lines.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
read between the lines.
We respect. So Baltimore, where do you think Baltimore is going now? Because you have people that are getting up on Baltimore. This gentrification. They're talking about knocking down blocks. Like I've heard the whole. We're going to talk about two issues. One, we're going to talk about the mayoral race, but the other issue that I'm really concerned with is Baltimore, just the total gentrification in Baltimore. And so now you hear the narrative that a lot of the blocks that are in Baltimore, clearly we know, are abandoned homes, which could be fixed up and given to people that need affordable housing. But instead, the policy decision has been, all right, just let's knock it all down.
Same
right?
thing will happen in D.C.
Exactly.
It's going around the United States, and it's sad. In my opinion, it's sad because these are, at the end of the day, when stuff like this happen, it changes the culture of the community. And of course, I can't really go into deep detail about that, but regardless of how these homes are, these are in these neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And when you change the culture of the community, you change the way the people are, and that's going to have an impact on everybody.
Are you seeing it?
Oh, of course.
Happening now?
Yeah, definitely.
Like in what ways?
You see that because, when neighborhoods are turned or neighborhoods are a certain way, and when, money comes in, it changes the structure of the environment. You know what I mean? And it's like, who are we to come in and to take something away from the people, regardless if it's a broken home or not? That's just my opinion.
Right. Do you engage in shows, I don't know whether you have the leeway to do it because we kind of talked about it before, but some of your shows are clearly going to have some political controversy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And do you think about that before you're producing the show, or do you directly say, "Yo, this is an issue that I might that I want to confront"?
Of course,
like,
you definitely. I mean, definitely. There's always topics that are political, and you know, with our contract, we cannot say which side that we're on. That's something that a lot of people don't know. But when you sign that news contract, one thing that they will tell you, you cannot publicly endorse any party.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So even with those political questions, you see how I answer them?
I see. You're very savvy at doing that.
Yeah.
You did it like a politician. Salute to you.
Hey, guy.
Salute to Chardelle Moore. She got her political savviness down.
So as far as for your news channel, you guys doing any type of you got sponsorships when it comes to maybe group homes, or I mean, you guys doing in the community right now as far as?
Well, I know, like, for example, we just had the Be More Healthy Expo. That was really dope. So It provided free resources to the Baltimore community. It was at the convention center.
Okay.
Over 30,000 people came. Okay. So we had different, like, health screenings, testings. We actually were giving away food, different resources, you know, for the public to be more healthy. That's one of our popular events that we do. And even me, I do a lot of community events, from the AIDS walk to, you know, different, you know, cancer organizations, to different, you know, speaking at schools. This is just my opinion. This is not for everybody, but I feel like if you are in the public eye, not even if you're in the public eye, if you're doing something for yourself, you have a social responsibility for your community. You can never forget your community. So a lot of reporters, and not even just reporters, the station, we pride ourselves in partnering with organizations that are deeply rooted in the community. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you get to pick? Do you get to select, like, okay, this is a community or organization that I want to partner with, and then you have to get it vetted from your
One thing I will say is that for FOX45, at least for me, we get a lot of creative control. So if there's an organization that I feel like that should be highlighted, I can go to my executive producer and say, this is something that I would like to highlight. And 99.9% of the time, we feature it. Or, you know, I'm going to go speak to it. So, I mean, when it comes to that of creative control, I mean, obviously I work with creative services most of the time. I work in news during the evening. We are allowed to have a lot of freedom when it comes to that. Because there's so many different organizations in Baltimore. And, you know, for me as a woman, a black woman, it is so imperative for me to be involved with these organizations. And to show people that you don't have to go a certain route. Because this is the thing, people love to judge, right? But they don't understand that how you were raised has a lot to do with your decisions. And just because your decisions might be different from what you might think, if that's all you know, it's very hard to break that cycle. Not saying that you can't break that cycle, because you can. But when I mentor girls and they say, you know, my mother's a stripper, so I'm going to be a stripper. You know, my father sold dope, so I'm going to sell dope. And that's all they know. It's very, you know, hard for them to choose a different route. You know what I mean? It's especially if that's what they're used to. So who are we to judge? Instead, it's up to me to empower. Because we all got issues. I don't care who you are.
How do we get more young black women in that pipeline? Because clearly, it starts with us. Clearly, you know, we could say you're an example of black excellence, but you know, we have tons of people who are on the sidelines who are looking at you who may be just as talented, right? Mm-hmm. But how do we begin to bring, and I know this is an issue that I faced as a professor, like how do we bring more early career black scholars into the academy? How do we do that?
You want to go first?
Not to cut you off. Me personally, I feel like it's a lot of people that's in these high power situations and they know nothing about the community. You know
exactly.
What I mean? And me and Dr. Richardson had this conversation all the time. Is that how can you do research or collect data or give your opinion on whatever you want to give your opinion on, where you don't come to my side of the tracks. You know what I mean? Your answer is a textbook answer. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's why
how you can talk about my struggle when you never
Exactly.
That's why I feel like, in my opinion, it starts with us. Mm-hmm. It starts with us. Like, even this podcast, being an outlet to stories that must be heard, to use it as a form of inspiration, that speaks volumes. To be a black professor, a male black professor at a predominantly white college, that speaks volumes. So if we're not willing to empower our own community, then how do we expect other people to empower us? That's why even for me, I will go speak to the young girls. I will let people that I've never met in person come shadow me. Like, people think I'm crazy. Like, you're going to allow them to shadow you? You don't even know them. I'm like...
Nah, I mean, that's the way it happens, right?
That's just how I am.
That's the way it happens.
I'm like, come to the station. You want to get some real hands-on experience? Come to the station.
This is kind of putting you in a spot, and whether it's about, your contractual obligations. But I'm going to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm interviewing interns right now, right, to work with me during the summer. And one of my primary concerns is that I have a representation of black and brown interns.
What's wrong with that?
It's nothing wrong with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes, like, I don't give a shit about what people think about who I select, because the majority of people that come into internships, particularly when they're non-paid, and this is proven, are white because they can afford to take a non-paid internship. But I think that, black and brown undergraduates and graduate students deserve a shot in the same way I was given a shot to have an internship. And so I make a conscious decision that I'm going to have black and brown interns at the very least work with me. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if in your industry, whether there's any kind of pushback about who you bring into the fold, that follows you, shadows you, has an internship. Do you get any pushback on that? Is there any kind of like, okay, that's reverse racism? Because that will be thrown into
the mix of the
conversation.
I mean, I've never experienced that before. Anytime somebody wants to shadow me, to be honest, most of the people who reach out are sisters.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I haven't experienced that at all. But I feel like I have an obligation to my community to empower them and to put them on. That's just me, because I have seen what it's like to be a black woman in this business.
We didn't really get into that, though. Like, what are the real?
You have to be a black woman in the media,
right.
the black woman to be in the media business, and not just media, corporate America in general. You need to work 10 times harder. And it is sad, but that is the reality of the situation. On top of that, when they know you are from a different country, it doesn't matter if you grew up in America, they also look at you like, you're from a different country. You even need to work harder. You know what my mom always told me? Not only are you black, but you're Caribbean. You were born in a different place, so you got to make sure that your stuff is together. That's the only way. And for me, I have a social responsibility to empower my sisters, to allow them to realize that they're more than capable of achieving their goals, because I don't care what anybody says. This is just my opinion, that we do live in a society, corporate America, where people judge you and race is a factor. Anybody who wants to say race is not a factor, they're lying. Period.
So beyond race,
yes,
right? This is a question. I don't know whether it's right or wrong. Okay, we've covered race, we've covered ethnicity. But what about aesthetic?
Oh, like what you look like and stuff? Oh, come on. You talk about TV? Let's be honest.
Let's be real about it.
With television, television, people judge you by what you look like. So, of course, people want attractive people on TV. I remember when I first came on FOX45, one of the biggest things was that right now, as you can see, I have I got a weave right now, but I have natural hair. Usually 98% of the time I wear my hair natural. So it was very different. People were like, what? This reporter has natural hair, but in a good way, in a positive way. So it's like, even those unique differences, it's a great way to make yourself stand out, because most people on air don't have natural hair. So I was bringing something different. But it's, at the end of the day, it's television. So people want to look at attractive people. And it has nothing to do with race or color. That's just the reality of the situation.
I mean, but who's to say what's attractive?
But it goes back to what we were saying. Everybody has different perceptions of reality.
So do you find that the black aesthetic is being determined, evaluated, critiqued by mainstream white America. That's determining. That's determining
I think it's a
what the black
combination.
aesthetic is that people would find palatable for television, or is it that a combination of we're doing it ourselves too, or is it that the hierarchy of, you know, a corporation is saying, okay, you know, Chardelle Moore, looks like she would be palatable and acceptable for a mainstream audience?
That's a very tough. That's a very tough question, but that's a very important question. I don't know if people are literally like using one person as a form of this is what you should look like, but I definitely feel like there are pictures in the media that people gravitate to. Like for example, Beyonce,
Right.
lighter skin, blonde hair, and you know when you don't fit that mold, it's like a question mark. You know what I mean? Not for everybody, but that's just the reality of the situation that we live in. But fortunately, right now, you see more of a movement with natural hair, dark skin is beautiful, and, you know, the shift is changing. But at the end of the day, most of the people that you see in media on that level, it's more of a, you know, a certain look.
So could you, if you decided tonight,
Yes.
right, to come on tomorrow morning with your natural hair?
Oh, yeah, I usually wear my hair natural.
Oh. So it's all good.
Yeah, I wear, and that's, thank you, FOX45. I wear my hair natural 90%
Salute
of
to
the time.
FOX45.
Yeah, 90% of the time my
Well,
hair's
not even allowing that, but being
usually,
cool
my
with
hair's
it.
usually never straight. My hair is usually naturally curly. I wear my little twists.
That's what's
I
up.
twist my hair like this, and I just wear it wet and go.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And I've gotten so many compliments about that.
From white and black.
Oh, white and black, you know, because it's hard. It's not even about white and black, but it's very hard to see somebody on the news with curly hair. Period. White, black, Asian.
Yeah.
So when that came around, it's like, whoa, that's different. Yeah, but 90% of the time, I wear my hair.
It's crazy, man, because when I guess when weave came onto the scene, it took over. Like
natural hair.
Not natural hair, fake hair, weave, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? It took over the black community like crack. Like I think that like it was because me personally, I feel like when I'm talking to someone, for a man, we can't really do too much to ourselves and to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
So
we can't buy that yet.
if you're a funny looking guy, you're just a funny looking guy.
Yeah, it is. You
gotta
gotta deal with that. You gotta deal with that.
You know
You
what I
gotta deal with. You gotta become a charismatic dude.
But my thing is like how, me personally, as me being a black man, like how fair is it for me to meet a woman and to see her natural appeal? Like that kind of bothers me. You understand?
I
what I'm saying?
agree.
Like I want to see
Natural
you for
hair
the
is
natural
beautiful.
person that you are. You know what I mean? I don't want to wake
Definitely.
up 4 o'clock in the morning and you look like Beauty
You
and
look
the
like
Beast.
trash.
You know
Right?
what I'm saying?
You like like
let
the
me
dude
see
that
you for what you
dude that
are.
caught you in the club and now I'm catching
But I
you with
think
the
that
lights
kinda-
on.
I think that kind of goes back to what she was saying. People want to look a certain type of way because it's accepted. You understand what I'm saying? If a
Right,
man-
and that's my point. Like when you're watching the news, you don't see a variation of aesthetics with black women.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
You'll see like the weave, or you'll see the straightened hair, but you'll never really see a variation of aesthetics. And not that I have a problem with any of that, although I do, particularly with the weave, but that's my own personal issue. But I'm just saying like how we corporatize the aesthetic of black people.
Black
right?
people, okay.
And that's kind of the question
Yep.
that I'm asking. How does the commodification, corporatization of the black aesthetic kind of get suppressed as you
That's how I
present
usually
yourself?
wear my hair. But my hair's long too, so that's people always say it's different.
Nah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wish we could get a close up on that, but we can't. But Chardelle just showed up real hair. It's all real.
Long hair,
Long hair, don't care.
Let's
I'm like, I got
let's
some
salute you
pieces,
for
but
let's
I got
salute
some long hair.
let's salute the sister for real hair.
Hey.
Hey. Salute sisters with all their real
Yeah,
hair.
natural hair is beautiful. I
Natural
think it's
hair
important.
is
I think the thing
Long,
about hair,
short, curly,
it's like
whatever it is.
the whole natural natural movement, that could be a whole. You guys need to do a show on that because
we can talk about that for like.
You can talk about that all day.
24 hours.
Everybody
every
has
day.
different perceptions about that. I wear my hair natural usually most of the time, but I feel like sometimes it's like a battle too. Like for example, the natural girls think that people who wear like extensions or weaves here and there, like, oh, you're the worst person. You have an identity crisis, blah blah. And sometimes the girls who are always weaved up say, yo, I just don't want to do my hair. You know what I mean? So it's like. That can be a great topic. You guys should think about that. But I think the versatility of a black woman is amazing. Like, and I think you should just be comfortable in your skin, regardless if you want to do natural, if you want to do weaves, if you want to do pieces. You know, I don't really like the whole full weave thing. I think I like pieces better. But regardless, what you do, just own it.
I'm gonna tell you what else I think is right. When we can move on, the lace front. I don't like that.
You don't like lace front?
Nah, I don't like
lace front.
That looks really crazy.
What the hell is lace front?
But I'm not even gonna go into that. You can Google that.
What the hell?
But
lace front
looks kind of crazy.
It's like a lace.
But do you take the aesthetic of how you're gonna present yourself every day as part of that kind of narrative about, you know, black women have the power to give their own natural selves and all this authenticity to the viewers that are watching it? Like, do you take that into...
Oh, yeah, that's why I wear my hair natural most of the time.
So it's a conscious decision?
Yeah, definitely. Well, not only conscious, it's easier, to be honest. It's easier just to do wet and go. I'm keeping it 100. But also, too, it's like being a form of inspiration, and people say, yeah, I like to see a girl with natural hair on TV as well. But at the same time, some people want to switch it up. Like, I was like, you know what? I want to do something different for the spring. And I didn't want to damage my hair. So I was like, you know, let's do it straight. Let's add some pieces so I don't have to damage my curls. And why not?
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So, when it comes down to as far as, you know, you wake up in the morning.
Yes.
You what's your routine before you get to
the station?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wake up in the morning. The first thing that I do is pray. People have this, let me tell y'all, this phone habit to look at your phone, the first thing, do not do that because you're sending bad energy into the universe. The first thing that you got to do is wake up and give thanks for another day. So I do that. And then I go eat breakfast.
Okay.
You know, brush my teeth first and then go eat breakfast. And then get ready.
Okay.
You know, and get ready, to be honest, it definitely is it's kind of a process, but I like to keep it minimal because you are working in front of the public eye.
Okay.
And, you know, also pumping yourself up. I think that's really important.
So is there a system that you have before you go live?
Oh, yeah. I always pray. I always give thanks. I mean, this is my job, so it's different, you know. But always, before I go into that camera, I'm like, you got this. Yeah. Because you are human, so you might be going through stuff personally, and then you gotta go in front of the camera for viewers.
Yeah.
I've had times that I've had to I cried before going on air, wiped my tears, boss up shot, go in front of the camera, pretend like nothing's going on. And I've done it. And then I've had times that, you know, I cried, wiped my tears, and I'm reporting like, hey, so da 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 blah blah, and people will pick up on that. Like viewers will, you know, send me messages like, "Oh, are you okay? You're not your bubbly, positive self." People notice that stuff. It's part of it. When you work in the public eye, people notice everything. You know, even when I chose to do my hair like this, people wrote letters into the station like, "Oh, so, that's different."
So how does it feel to know that? I mean, someone's always watching you and always.
Yeah, that's what I was really interested in.
It's a beautiful thing, but it's also a bad thing because
always...
it's just the nature of the business. And I tell young journalists, if you want to work in this business, you have to be prepared to be scrutinized. It's just the reality of the situation. Fortunately, you know, my feedback is mostly positive, but you do have those negative comments here and there, and you just have to realize like, okay, that's their opinion, and to keep it moving. It's the industry. It's like if you're a rapper, if you're a DJ, any person who works in the public eye, they're gonna have that stuff. You know, and I always tell myself, I'm just like a local TV reporter. Look at those celebrities. If you ever looked at a celebrity's page on Instagram, how much negative comments. And my thing is, why would you even waste your time? Like, even if I saw something that I wouldn't agree with, I'm not going to write.
I'm not saying anything.
But that's me.
But that's why we, like, when we say in our podcast, we're like, shout out to Tax. Like, Tax Stone was a podcast, and I'm not even gonna say podcast. It is a podcaster who was getting like a lot of love, but as soon as he had an unfortunate situation and he's locked up, like a lot of people just turned on him.
So
And
sad.
like social media, and I guess that's kind of like in my mind. What I thought you were talking about social media.
Oh, that's all right. Social media.
But social media like is dictating everything, right? And I remember like when Shay and I were first talking, and I remember you were talking about Instagram, and I was like, I'm just not messing with Instagram like that.
You don't like
But
Instagram?
I mess with it now.
He on it now.
I'm like an addict. I'm like an Instagram addict.
I like
But-
Instagram better than Twitter. I can get
You
it.
know what's
I can't get
funny? You know what's
Me
funny?
either.
You know what? Yo, the craziest thing is, right? When we first had this conversation, I was like, yo, I ain't messing with that. I mess with Twitter. But I kind of mess with Instagram more now.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm not limited to 140 characters, right? But B, I think it gives you much more introspective look at like what my life is really like.
Yeah.
Every day.
Definitely.
Every day, like this is what we do, right? And so I don't think Twitter can get that. Although I think Twitter, on the intellectual side, for people that are intellectual, not people that are intellectual, but people that are looking for information can get a lot of information from Twitter. But I think that Instagram like has its value in place, which I didn't think before Che and I had these conversations. I was like, I ain't feeling on Instagram. Why would people look at a picture? But a picture is 1,000 words.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy that you say that, man. I was reading this book the other day, man. It said the best way to see a person is to not look at them. You know what I mean? So when you say that Instagram is the platform of I guess of pictures, but it's like Instagram is fabricated.
It is.
You understand what I'm saying?
But it can also give you insight on where a person is coming from, right? Because some people just get on there, and this is something I want to talk about.
Uh-oh. Da, 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 da.
Yo,
Spit it real quick.
no disrespect. No, I am going to disrespect.
Uh-oh.
Yo, the whole selfie, like every single picture you have on Instagram has to be a selfie. In my opinion, is whack. Like if you can't move your life beyond just taking pictures of yourself.
That's that Philly shit.
No, that's
exclusive
real shit.
Exclusive.
Yo, that's real corny to me. Like, you know how my Instagram is. Like, I'm posting a lot of, like, I'm going to post stuff about this show and all
Of
that.
course.
But, yo, and particularly for dudes.
No, dudes with selfies, I can't. I can't with dudes with selfies.
I'm
Why are
crushing
you taking a selfie?
Yo, I'm crushing them.
I'm the same way. Why are you
I'm crushing the
man
dudes
taking
with
a
dudes.
selfie?
Yo, I'm crushing the dudes with doing selfies right now. Yo, I'm crushing them. Dudes that take pictures of themselves all day long, I'm crushing y'all right now.
Stop.
Seriously.
I'm done for the day, man. I'm done.
Crushing y'all right now.
Hey,
What
if you a grown man,
taking a selfie, bro?
if you a grown man, you shouldn't be. Me personally, I don't take selfies. Okay.
You're a grown man. You can take selfies of yourself
takes
all
all our
day.
pictures.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you what.
I don't do this.
Tell you what else. It's whack to me when every time I go to my timeline or whatever, and I see a picture of y'all taking a picture of yourself. You gotta stop that.
Stop that shit.
That's corny, y'all.
Stop that shit.
But and for chicks too. But
The females, they can get away with it. You know.
yeah, women can get away with it. A little bit.
They can get away.
Women get away with it more.
I'ma save y'all.
Women
I
get
got
away
y'all.
with it more than men
Men,
because I
men.
understand women want to be like, yo, I'm looking good today.
It ain't too many. It ain't
But
too
men,
much wrong.
y'all can't get into that.
Nah,
but
man,
we
we
kind of
can't.
digress
We-
a little bit. I don't want this all. I want to get into the Instagram conversation. But
Stop taking that selfie shit, though, man.
stop taking selfies.
Uh-oh.
We don't like that shit. I asked you already where you're going next, and you was just like wherever the spiritual universe takes you. I want to ask you kind of to close out because we've been talking for a minute.
Good conversation though. Good vibes.
Amazing
good
conversation.
Amazing.
You need to come on here as a co-host with us
Seriously,
sometime.
can I co-host one day?
Oh, indeed.
It is.
Indeed.
Salute.
Indeed.
Salute.
You need to come on as a co-host. A, I want to ask you, I don't know whether your, political leanings allow you,
Let me see the question,
contractual, allow you to talk about where we are today as far as where our president is.
Yes.
But I want to get into all of these issues about Trump and how the media is covering it.
Okay.
Okay. So, we see a lot of people that are in the media that have a little bit of leeway, about talking about Trump in whatever way they feel possible. Critiquing him, criticizing him, calling him an asshole, saluting him, supporting him. But what do you think about where we're going right now in the direction of the country with Trump at the helm?
Well, going back to the political correct answer, I can't publicly support or
That's why we
endorse
threw it out there. You're trying to
I
push
can't publicly support or endorse any
Just
candidate.
focus on
But
the
one
country.
thing that I will say, as a nation, regardless of your political beliefs, that it is extremely imperative for us to find some way to work together. Because if not, because it goes back to what I keep saying, everybody has their own views and their own opinions. And the only way that we're going to make some type of progress is if Democrats and Republicans find a medium for us to come together as one. Toast to that.
Man,
Toast to that.
Toast to
Focus.
that.
Focus on your brand and
Exactly. And
We
also,
just-
too, regardless of whoever the president is, each of us has our own social responsibility to make this country a better place. Regardless of what
It's about
industry
living
that you're in,
service to
regardless of
humanity.
politics, if you're a teacher, if you're, if you are a firefighter, if you're a doctor, if you work at McDonald's, it doesn't matter what your profession. We all, as human beings, regardless of the profession, could do something to make the world a better place. That's just my opinion. Call me a super, hippie,
I think
positive
people need to
person,
move
but
out of
it's
their
true.
comfort zone, really.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
And to understand where people are coming from, too. Because it's very quick to judge, but not understanding where they're coming from.
on that note.
Oh no, she owes us a poem. They ain't no.
Oh,
they ain't
Oh,
no that note.
you owe us a poem.
Yeah, she owe. She owe
Oh
up.
You
my
owe
God.
you
She
owe
owe
With
us.
this tipsy joint?
You owe up.
Oh, my goodness.
That's why you've been drinking 2012
Oh my
Chardonnay. So you can spit
I'm
this
feeling-
poem.
I don't know if I should do Dominica or Follow. Okay, so this is a poem that I recently wrote. It is still needs some work. And I'm a little bit tipsy. They made me get some alcohol on the shows.
That's
but,
how we do work class.
Work class
Dang.
has been a long
Because
day.
I can see the eyes, I can see the eyes. But this is a poem about following your passion. Okay, I hope I don't mess up, but let's do it. I'm going to look at you to the camera. To my kings and my queens, my brothers and my sisters, I would encourage you, yes you, to follow your passion. Will it be easy? This thing called life is never easy. But your passion is part of your identity. And when you choose not to follow it, you can't be truly happy. You know what I'm talking about. Tossing and turning because that dream or that idea keeps you up at night. Frustrated with your current job like, yo, what am I doing with my life? And let's not forget to mention those energy vampires you try to tell your dreams to and they just shut you down. You want to be an entrepreneur, a musician, an artist, a TV host? Nah, maybe you should get a real job. But if I was to entertain those same naysayers that now give me my props, I would not be standing before you today. You see, I always knew there was passion in my voice, and at the age of 7, I got my start as my morning news anchor and never looked back. Now, my journey has been filled with so many obstacles. From hustling my way, working behind the scenes to work a minimum wage with a college degree, to driving 3 hours a day to work daily, to witnessing how crazy this business could be. But no matter what, I refuse to quit because my dream, my vision, my purpose is so much bigger than me. Born in the island of Dominica, raised in the DMV, first generation American, empowering others to succeed. Now I have young women and girls say to me, Chardelle Moore, when I watch you on TV, I see me. And best believe this is only the beginning of my journey. So my kings and my queens, my brothers and my sisters, don't let self-doubt, negativity prevent you from your destiny. Remember, one step at a time, keep pushing. And my favorite quote, the joy is in the journey. Hey!
Hey, salute. Let's toast to that.
Keep pushing, my kings and queens. You know,
Yo,
it's a little shabby, but one day I will.
working class intellectuals,
Yeah,
when you
man.
ever hear a host
Yeah,
on the news,
Hey, which one of those
Spinning
crazy
some
news
knowledge real
anchor.
quick,
When
right?
be able to spit
when
that
I
poetry.
Thank
That's
you.
what we do on
Yo,
working
I
class
didn't see that
intellectuals.
piece.
Salute.
when I first met her, like she's the same way she was when I first met her 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Like she's very, very, very enthusiastic and very, out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one quality that I think a lot of people should try to develop. You know what I mean?
Thank
Because you
you,
shouldn't
brother.
be scared, man.
No.
Don't be scared of
Lost
anything
and
in life. You
Yo,
know
don't
what I
be
mean?
scared to take
Own
the
your
risk.
L's, man.
Own
Own your
it.
L's, man.
Yeah.
Yo. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Indeed.
you guys.
We appreciate you. Seriously. This
And
is
she
an
was
amazing
with
episode.
She was with it off bucks, Doc. As soon as I said,
Yo.
we got a podcast
Yo.
up, Murray.
Oh,
We gotta
for sure,
come-
I'm
we
down.
gotta have you
With
come on and guest host. this joint.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta come on and guest host. So, when we close out, you mentioned Oprah, you mentioned Angie Martinez, but for you, what are your top 3 goals in life before we close out?
Oh my God, that's such a hard question. To use my creativity as a form of inspiration to empower others. That's the number one. That's the ultimate goal. Also, to be a full-out entrepreneur. That's very important for me. Entrepreneurship is very important to me. And to also, when I die, have a legacy that girl from Grand Bay, Dominica, quirky, fun individual, she inspired the world. And I got a lot to do. I'm just getting started.
You're doing your thing.
Thank you, my brothers.
Working class intellectuals, Chardelle Moore,
Hey, big ups.
FOX45,
Blessings.
host, weather, and everything in between.
Thank you.
Yo, we sincerely appreciate you coming on the
We
show.
definitely do.
We appreciate your energy. We appreciate your intellect. We appreciate your inspiration.
Thank you.
And we hope, a year from now you come back and kick it with us.
Of course, anytime. I'm down.
We got
And I'll get the date right this time.
Yeah, yo, get the date right. And we're gonna need, hey, yo, hold on. We're gonna need some shots,
Yeah, some shots.
for making us come back. Double back from where we was at. Chardelle Moore, Working Class Intellectuals.
Thank you, guys.
We want to salute everybody that's been tuning in. Go ahead.
Before we leave, give me an Instagram.
Oh, everything is the same. Chardelle Moore on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And like my Facebook page, Chardelle Moore. Also, ChardelleMoore.net, ChardelleMoore.com. I keep everything consistent. That's a branding thing as well.
Indeed.
And it's not Chantelle Moore, not the singer. It's Chardelle Moore.
Chardelle Moore.
Let's get that straight.
Hey.
It's Chardelle. Hey, Working Class Intellectuals.
Big ups.
We out. We out of here.
Blessings.
Salute.